everyone. Welcome to another IG Live with rePROFilm. Today I'm going to be joined by Zack Gingrich-Gaylord, who is going to be our guest. He's with Trust Women at 3 p.m. and you can get your tickets via the link in our bio. All right, we're just waiting for Zack to join us here and we'll get into our conversation. Here he comes. Hi, Zack. I'm doing well.
Hey, how are you doing? I am hanging out. It's a lovely, slightly windy Monday here in Wichita, and it's great weather.
Well, good to see
Yep,
you.
doing all right.
For joining us now,
Likewise.
we are going to be talking today about abortion care, abortion access, Zack's work with the organization Trust Women, which I'm going to intro in just a second, and also a couple of screenings that we have coming up of a film called Plan C. It's a documentary that features the organization Plan C and features abortion care and abortion access as well. So I'm going to introduce you. Zack is the communications director for Trust Women, a reproductive healthcare provider and advocacy organization that operates 2 clinics, one in Wichita, Kansas, and the other in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Since 2009, Trust Women has fought to increase meaningful local access to abortions for all people. Their vision of abortions is seen as a public good that must be protected. Most recently, Trust Women helped Kansas to defeat the first anti-abortion constitutional amendment put to a vote after the Dobbs decision. Congratulations. Securing the right to abortions in the Kansas Constitution. Their work in Oklahoma also includes providing and advocating for increased access to gender-affirming healthcare for all ages, as well as medication-assisted treatment for people who use drugs. And they're working on re-legalizing abortions in Oklahoma too. So, just a couple of things. That's amazing. I think the work that you all are doing is incredible. I love that you guys are partnering with our organization, rePROFilm, that we're putting on this series. Can you tell us about Trust Women's mission and how you guys came to sponsor these screenings?
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks again for letting us jump on your channel and be able to talk about this a little bit. Trust Women has been around since 2009. We opened our first clinic in 2013. This is about 4 years after the assassination of Dr. George Tiller. And that's relevant for us because we have this direct lineage with Dr. Tiller's work. We're in his same clinic right now that he provided care from. And at 2016, we opened a clinic in Oklahoma City. We have had for our mission for a while that our goal is to open clinics in underserved areas or hostile areas. Over the years, that's as we've seen more of the infrastructure of reproductive healthcare across the country break down, we really are focusing more on what does it mean to provide meaningful local access. As we see people having to travel so far for this care, it really is more about how do we get, our vision is really that people should not have to even drive across town to get this very basic medical care, right? So, our kind of 3 pillars, core values, personal autonomy, right? We believe that everybody has the right to make their own decisions about whether to continue pregnancy, to have abortions, or even how to have children and what that means, what kind of world people bring their children into. We believe that abortion is a public good that must be protected, and that's community health. What does the health of our communities mean? What does that look like for people living in our cities? And at the core of that community health, we believe reproductive health care is the most basic form of that. And then finally, of course, we align ourselves with the values of the reproductive justice movement. We are a co-executive directors, women of color organization. And we're really doing that work. We've been a repro rights organization for a long time, and we're doing that work right now to bring ourselves more into alignment with reproductive justice and more that expansive social framework of justice-oriented work that I think, we're seeing really is where the movement needs to go. So that's basically, who we are.
You guys do incredible work. That's amazing. And how did you guys come to co-sponsor the Plan C screenings with us?
Yeah, well, that's been a really lovely relationship. I've personally known Leela at rePRO for several years, and back during the election in Kansas here in 2021, we were able to partner with rePRO to show a couple of different films, and we just had a really great response from our constituent audience. It was just lovely to work with rePRO, and we really do appreciate the work that y'all do. Just from a community perspective, I think a lot of times we can yell about this till we're blue in the face, right? And we can go so far. But really our goal, aligns with your goal, is just to increase the number of positive conversations about abortions. And that really is going to mean widening that that community of people talking about this and figuring out what it means for each of us and each of our communities. And so it's a very natural fit for us to be able to work with an organization like rePRO that's doing so much of that great storytelling work and really showing how this is just a part of life.
Absolutely. And for those who are joining us now, I'll mention again, and I'm going to keep mentioning because I think that everyone should go see this film. We're going to be hosting a couple of screenings, one in Wichita on the 21st, one in Los Angeles on the 24th, of a documentary called Plan C. It's got a lot of great information about the organization Plan C, and I just think that everyone should sign up and see it. If you're able, if you're available, you can go to the link in our bio. But that brings me to my next question, speaking of that organization. So what is the importance of civil disobedience when laws in place are immoral? And what can we learn from George Tiller, who you've mentioned, and Francine Coito, who started Plan C?
Yeah, and thank you for bringing up this question. I'm actually wearing my, I don't know if we can see it, my John Brown shirt today, just in honor of the question, right? And what can we do to protect our communities and to protect our families when there are clearly unjust or like highly politicized laws, right? And I think around abortion, we see that these laws that are impacting people's lives across the country, but especially in this region where we operate our clinics, they have nothing to do with medicine. Right. These are very clearly political agendas that are being placed on top of this very specific form of healthcare that, the extremist anti-abortion politicians, they just don't want people to have this kind of healthcare. Not because it's not safe, not because of any medical reason, but just because they don't like it. So what are we supposed to do then? And there's, obviously, people need to get involved kind of in that kitchen table politics and then get out and start doing that more traditional organizing, canvassing, getting out the vote, that sort of thing. But we also have to think, like Francine in this movie, like, are there other ways that we can help our communities to be able to access the care that they need? And now, of course, that kind of goes into where people are in the movie too. We see, how people evaluate that risk for themselves or their own organizations they're a part of. But really at this moment, I don't think that it's, too inflammatory or escalating to say that we do need creative solutions to this. We need to be listening to providers, but also to patients, right? People who may need this form of healthcare, and figuring out, what do they need and how can we help to provide that safely for everyone.
We were talking the other day about just the influx of patients that you have specifically from Texas. How has SCOTUS overturning Roe affected your clinic?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been, over the past 3 years, I think everybody at Trust Women is very tired of hearing the word unprecedented, but it really is. There's almost no way to describe it otherwise, right? And just to give you a couple of numbers to help maybe bring the impact on our region into better focus. In 2021, this is prior to Texas's passage of Senate Bill 8, which is kind of the first bill that kicked off this more recent attack on abortion rights. Our Kansas clinic saw around 1,500 patients for that year. And I believe, I don't have it with me right now, but of those numbers, we had maybe fewer than 10 were from Texas. In the first 4 months, I'm sorry, in 2022, then this is, half of Dobbs, right, and then most of SB8, we saw around 3,500 patients.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's more than double in that year. This year, for the first quarter of 2023, we've seen over 2,000 patients. So we're on pace to break 5,000 patients, not just at our clinic, right? A lot of work on scaling up, being able to meet this need. But of those patients that we're seeing right now, around 70% are from out of state, and around 70% of that 70% are from Texas. So this has immediately like changed the landscape, not only of just the region, but who is able to access care. How are people accessing care? It is very regular right now for people to travel 6 to 10 hours to take a pill,
Yeah.
and that's just one way, right? It's very regular for people to bring their whole families along. We know that our clinics, around 70% of the people who come to see us for abortion care are already parents. And this is, I think the danger of our moment right now is that we begin to see all this as ambient, or see it as,
Right.
well, this is just the way it is, right? And in fact, and it's impossible to overstate, this is a manufactured healthcare crisis. It looks this way on purpose, and our goal is to make it transparent, and also to
manufactured
change
healthcare
it.
crisis. Totally correct. I think that's a really succinct and apt way to put it, for sure. You mentioned abortion pills, and that is something that the documentary covers quite a lot. Can you tell us about medication abortion, what it looks like, how one accesses it?
Yeah, so I mean, medication abortion is one of the most common ways that people access abortions in the country. It is highly safe, highly effective, and it's currently, and this is potentially changing. There's some court cases ongoing right now, of course, but up until this point, it has been pretty much standard a 2-pill regimen. So you have mifepristone as the first pill, and people would take that pill, and that's a pill that ends the pregnancy or stops that pregnancy from developing. And then people follow it up with misoprostol, which is a pill that expels the pregnancy, similar to a miscarriage. We have currently in the country about 3 lawsuits going on right now that would impact access to mifepristone specifically. But of course, it's the legal landscape, similar to procedural abortions, is similarly a patchwork right now, right? There are many states that have banned all abortions. There are some that have banned abortions, up to a particular gestational age, which means that maybe procedural abortions are timed out, but medication abortion is still accessible. And of course, then in the case of the movie that we're promoting, right, you can access medication abortions by mail. And Plan C is definitely the most recognizable access point.
Yeah, a lot of that information is fantastic. If you are interested in learning more, you can go to plancpills.org. They're a wonderful organization. And these pills are super, super safe and very effective as well, up to, I believe, 12 weeks of pregnancy from the first day of your last period. Yeah. So just more information to people. Okay, I have one last question for you, Zach. So you said something in our pre-interview that I thought was really wonderful. You said that abortion is considered community care. So I'm wondering if you can extrapolate on that a little bit. And then what are some actionable steps to get wider access to abortion care? For us, this really goes, this type of care really is at the foundation of like what it means to not only have your own family and how you want that to look, but then also, families interact with other families and create society, right? I mean, this is kind of at the foundation of our work is really how we want to live together. So we consider abortions to be a public good.
you know, I'm a cis male, right? I'm never going to have an abortion myself, but I recognize that my community is safer and healthier when there is meaningful local access to abortions in my community. That means that people are able to raise their family, to grow their family when they want to, right? And we know that for many people, uh, getting that right job or starting that career or finishing your education, right, that comes before maybe starting a family. And if you might have obstacles in the way, then that'll impact your future economic earning potential, or your ability to get that degree or pursue that passion, right? And we would just want to make sure that people aren't forced into life paths that they wouldn't otherwise choose, right? And we know that we have uh, this healthcare system around independent clinics, Planned Parenthood, and even some hospitals that will provide family planning and reproductive health care for their own communities. We think that's great. The problem is when we start to see people having to travel across the state, or they're having to travel hundreds of miles, right? And the disruption that takes, again, for something as simple as a pill. It can be very impactful and can really limit people's ability to choose the direction of their own life. So we envision a world in which people have meaningful local access, to hopefully free reproductive health care where they want it, for whatever reason they want it, because that's their own decision. And we feel that our communities are quite capable of making those
Absolutely.
decisions
That
for
is a vision
themselves.
for the future that sounds really beautiful to me. So I love the work that you all are doing. I'll give an opportunity at this time if anyone has any questions, you leave them in the comments. And in the meantime, Zach, is there anything else that you would like to share with us about Trust Women, about your work, or about these screenings that are coming up?
Yeah, no, we really just hope that people, if you're able to make it to either the Los Angeles screening or the screening, it's going to be at the Wichita Art Museum, which is a lovely little theater here in town. Come out, see the movie, engage with the topic, and really think about what you can do at this point you know, to help protect abortion access where you are, if you still have it, or to get together with your community and demand that it be returned if you're living in a state that's banned abortion. I mean, this is, we have been in an all hands on deck moment for
Right.
several years. We are still there. And, I think there's a lot of really great organizations, activists, independent clinics doing that really hard work of again, increasing positive conversations around abortion, making it more culturally destigmatized. But we really need everybody, I mean, to become kind of single issue people about this, because again, this is at the core of how we live as people together. And, without this, we can see, that the anti-abortion movement is very much aligned with white supremacy, with fascism, with religious extremism. And so, you know, not to be cliche or something and say this is the canary in the mine shaft, but we can see, you can even look at how the anti-abortion playbook is being used in anti-trans and anti-gender affirming care legislation going on right now. So this is a stair step, and if you still have it in your state, they're coming for you.
100%.
So
Well, I
it's
think
time to
that's
get
a
involved.
great note to end on. I'm not seeing any questions in the chat. I feel like you've informed us so much. So thank you so much again, Zach. Zach's here with Trust Women. And we're going to put this up on our rePROFilm feed so you can have access to it anytime you'd like. But yeah, thank you so much, Zach, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you so much, Alex. It's been a super big
Bye.
pleasure. Thank you.